Finally made it. Field day. 2012. Here I am. Okay, so here we have a radio and a backpack. So let's get the antennas out first, because having those things sticking up is rather awkward. Keep hitting overhead things. I got an 80-meter resonator and a 40-meter resonator and an 80-meter resonator. And then somewhere down in here, we have the mount for it. Here we go. The mount. I'm not going to pull it out, but this attaché case has a solar panel in it for charging the battery. I've already charged my battery, so we won't need it right away. And on top we have a Elecraft K3, a K1. I wish a K3. Yeah, there it is, K1. And coax cable. And a neat little orange box full of goodies. Down here we have a battery. Over on the side we have a C-clamp to clamp the antenna in place. Over here we have some cables and a Navy flame-proof key. So that pretty much is it. Now we got to put it together. So the first thing we're going to do is mount this antenna, because it's kind of long and awkward to play with and it's just in the way. So the first thing we do is get this mount clamped to the railing. I've already attached the coax to the mount, so it's just a matter of coming in here with a C-clamp and attaching it to the railing. A little more. That feels pretty solid. Now we'll attach the antenna. This is a Hustler mobile antenna, the one with the interchangeable resonators. I'm going to put on a 40-meter resonator to start with, because I think that's probably my favorite band is the 40-meter resonator, 40-meter band. So let's start with that resonator. Normally I'd put a washer in there, a lock washer, but since this isn't going to be vibrating or doing anything, I'll run without it. So a vertical antenna requires some kind of a ground system, and I have a couple of rolls of wire here which I will be using as a ground system. I also use these as a dipole antenna, and I will show you where I string it out. I'm going to run these in the same place as I would normally use a dipole. So we just have a little screw here that we can attach these to. Oh well, there it goes. It's going to unravel anyway. So now we're going to be going the other way. I really should have lugs on these things, but never got around to it. You know what they say about a round to it. I put a little bend in this thing to follow it around the screw, and then just nail it down. And there we go. They're in there. Okay, you can see the wire being run through here. Get a little more strain relief. And I very carefully wind this up when I roll it up again, so I can just do this. Walk straight out. We just run it around the house as you saw. And we just bring it up to the tree here and tie a loop just to get it out here. Somewhere. Let's find a spot on the tree, tie it off. Just loop it around a few times to hold it in place. Okay, we're going to run the other wire out in the opposite direction, up into the woods here. Alrighty, let's run it out this way. Okay, so we come out here, and I don't know if we're going to make it to this next tree or not. No, we're not. So we'll just come in and tie it off here. Just make a couple of loops around the wire. There's not a lot of stress on this wire, so it's fine as it is. So this is pretty much the view from the operating position. You can see the antenna straight out just off center to the right. You can see the ground wire going straight away, and of course we've got our hibiscus on the left. Last year we had a yellow one with one bloom on it, right in the middle. This year, of course, we've got 4 blooms, and they're all red. And this position will move around the deck as the sun moves. So try and stay cool, try and stay comfortable. Right now we're tuned to the 40-meter band. On this frequency, nothing much is happening. I guess everybody's setting up for field day. And once field day starts, the band will start jumping, and you will hear lots and lots of stations. As you can see, I've changed the antenna. The vertical wasn't performing as well as I had hoped. So all I had to do is remove it and take the 2 wires that I was using as a ground for the vertical and attach them to a balun, and now they are the antenna. And it's working out a little bit better. One of the objects of what we're doing here is to pass a standard exchange of what kind of a station they're running. This last one I just spoke to, he has 3 operators and they're in a club. And they also exchange what section, what ARRL, American Radio Relay League, section of the country it is. Usually it corresponds to a state, but some states have multiple sections, such as Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Pennsylvania, Western New York, Eastern New York, Northern New Jersey, Southern New Jersey, and so forth. So he was a 3-operator club station in Ohio. So now it's just a matter of tuning around. And since we're running low power here, we can't just jump in and get a contact. So we listen a lot. Sometimes a strong station means they can hear you, and there's a good chance of getting them. Or it could mean that they've got a very powerful signal. Everybody hears them, and everybody calls them, in which case you end up calling and calling and calling, and they don't hear you because other more powerful stations are calling and they just don't hear you. But that's part of the game, and when you run QRP, you've got a bit of a handicap in that sense. But then you get multiplier points for running low power off of battery. What you're looking at here is a pair of garden lights that I use for illumination at night. I stuck them on a pair of drinking glasses because I found out that the flutes in the garden light lenses created shadows that made them a little bit difficult to use. So I just commandeered some glasses, and that should work well tonight. Well, here it is morning again. I called it a night last night, somewhere between 10 and 11 local time, Eastern
Eastern Daylight Time, which would be between 0200 and 0300. Universal Time Coordinate, UTC, or whatever the heck they call it. As I remember, being an old timer, Greenwich Mean Time. Same thing. I just got tired. So it's now, I don't know, let me see, 7 o'clock, which would be 1100 Greenwich Mean Time. I made a statement yesterday that was incorrect. It had a glaring error. When I talked about the exchange, I said the exchange included how many people were in the operation. It's not how many people, it's how many transmitters are on the air from that location. And that location, I think, is a 300-meter circle. So I wanted to clear that up. But the section exchange was correct. It's basically according to your state, although some states are split into things like West New York, East New York, Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania, Northern Jersey, and Southern Jersey. Anyway, we're back together again. So, time to get on the air. Well, it's actually time to get a cup of coffee, then get on the air. About 11 o'clock, and things have been going. We've been busy, made a few contacts this morning, and we're continuing. We've got about 3 hours to go, so we'll see what happens. I think I worked him before. Worked him before. He sounds... I worked him before too. M8CV. Got him. There's a 4-transmitter operation on emergency power in Ohio. And that's him in the log. Let's see what else we've got. I can do without this hat. MRC. And got him in the log. He is a 3-transmitter operation with his club in Ohio. And we'll get him in the log. MRC 3AOH on 7.042 megahertz. Being an old-timer, there you remember them when they were called megacycles. And really old-timers would give it to you in wavelength. But hey, let's not quibble. And get him in the dupe sheet so we know if we worked him before, next time we hear him. And that's kind of how it goes. And all morning long I've been working with about that frequency. So you get an idea of what it's going like today, which is a lot faster than yesterday. That's it. We had a good weekend. Nice field day. Nothing spectacular, didn't rack up any big number of points, but I had fun. And I hope you found this marginally interesting, marginally enjoyable. So, it's time to pack up and head on out. We picked up the bodies, mopped up the blood. Now it's time to head out and lick our wounds and prepare for next year. Tschüss!